Most men completely overlook this. And because of that, they miss the exact moment a woman is silently telling them, "I'm attracted to you." Think about it. Have you ever met a woman? She said hello, and you couldn't tell if she saw you as just another guy or if there was something more. Most men assume attraction only shows up in obvious signs: flirty eye contact, a playful giggle, maybe a hair flip. But here's the truth: psychology shows us that the strongest signals of desire don't come later. They appear instantly, in the first few seconds of a greeting, before she even realizes what her body is revealing. That's right. The way she says hello, the little shifts in her breathing, her smile, her voice, even the way she positions her body can expose raw, instinctive attraction. And if you know what to look for, you'll see it long before she ever says it out loud. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 powerful yet strange ways women greet a man when that spark of desire is bubbling under the surface. These aren't obvious tricks. They're subtle, subconscious behaviors that most guys completely miss. And trust me, the last one I'll share with you will absolutely shock you. Because it's so primal that once you notice it, you'll never mistake her desire again. So stick around. Hit that like button. And subscribe right now, because you're about to learn secrets that most men will go their entire lives never discovering. All right? Let's dive into the first hidden signal. And this one happens so fast, most guys never even notice it. It's her breathing. Now, I want you to picture this. You walk into a room. She looks up. And before she even opens her mouth to say hello, she takes a sharp little breath in, almost like her body just inhaled your presence. That moment, that's huge. Here's why: when a woman feels genuine attraction, her nervous system kicks in instantly. This isn't a choice, it's biology. Her body is preparing for intimacy at a subconscious level. And one of the first places this shows up is in her breathing. Sometimes it's a quick inhale, almost like she's surprised by you. Other times, it's a soft sigh that slips out right before she speaks. You'll notice her chest rise just a little higher, or her shoulders lift ever so slightly. These are not random gestures. They're her body's natural, instinctive response to that spark she feels. And here's the important part: it's nearly impossible to fake. A woman can fake a smile. She can fake polite eye contact. She can even fake laughter. But a sudden change in breathing that's controlled by her nervous system, it betrays what's really going on inside. Think about it. Attraction triggers the sympathetic nervous system. Her heartbeat quickens. Blood flow increases. Her body temperature shifts. That little sigh, that quick inhale, it's her body's way of regulating all that energy. It's like her biology is saying, "Pay attention. This man affects me." Now, you might be wondering, doesn't this just mean she's nervous? Sure, nerves can play a role. But there's a difference. Nervous breathing often looks shaky or uneven. Attraction breathing, on the other hand, comes out as a delicate pace. Almost sensual exhale or a quick, involuntary gasp. It's subtle. But once you tune your ear and your eyes to it, you'll never miss it again. Here's a scenario. You say hi, and she pauses for half a second. You hear that faint little breath before her words come out. She's not even aware she did it, but her body already told you everything you needed to know. So next time, don't just listen to her words, listen to her breath. Because those first few seconds before she even forms a sentence can reveal far more than anything she'll ever say out loud. Now let's move into the second hidden signal of female attraction during greetings. And this one is even trickier to catch because it disappears almost as quickly as it appears. It's what I call the fleeting smile. Most men think attraction shows up as a big, obvious grin. They expect her to light up like a Christmas tree, hold that smile, and beam at them for seconds at a time. But in reality, that's usually not how it works. When a woman feels that raw pull of attraction, her subconscious slips out a private smile, one that comes and goes in an instant. It's almost like her subconscious is saying, "Yes, I see you in that way." But then her conscious mind swoops in and hides it. Because exposing that kind of vulnerability can feel way too revealing. Here's how it looks: you say hello. Her lips curve up for just a split second, maybe even paired with a tiny sparkle in her eyes. And then poof, it's gone. She straightens her expression. She puts on a more neutral or polite face, as if nothing happened. But if you caught it, you just witnessed one of the strongest signs of attraction most guys never notice. Why does this happen? Psychology gives us a clue. Smiling is deeply connected to emotion. It's not just social. It's neurological. When dopamine and oxytocin fire in her brain, the chemicals tied to desire and connection, her face reacts before her logical mind can intervene. But because attraction feels vulnerable, especially in those first seconds of meeting or greeting you, she quickly masks it. And here's what makes it so powerful: it's involuntary. You can fake a polite smile for the cashier at the grocery store. You can fake a social grin at a work event. But that quick, vulnerable flash, that's not something she chooses, it's something her body can't suppress in time. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine you walk up to a woman you've just met. You say, "Hey, nice to meet you." And as soon as she turns her head toward you, there it is, a micro smile, a tiny burst of warmth across her face. But then, just as quickly, she hides it behind a more composed expression. Most men completely miss that moment because they're waiting for a big, lingering grin. But the man who catches it, he sees the truth no one else does. Now, let me be clear. This isn't about overanalyzing every twitch of her lips. Sometimes people smile out of politeness, or because they're just being friendly. The difference is in the timing. A fleeting smile that shows up before she has time to compose herself. That happens in those raw, first seconds of seeing you. That's attraction leaking out from her subconscious. So next time, don't just look for the obvious. Train yourself to notice the hidden smile. The one that vanishes too soon. Because once you start catching those micro moments, you'll realize just how much women reveal in the first glance, long before they ever say a word. All right, let's get into the third hidden signal. And this one is fascinating because it's something you hear rather than see. It's all about her voice. Now, most men already know that attraction can influence the way a woman speaks. You've probably heard that when she's into you. Her tone might get softer, warmer, maybe even slightly lower. That's true, but that's only the surface. There's a deeper layer that most guys never catch. Here's the truth: when a woman feels a strong spark of attraction, her vocal cords actually lose a little bit of subtle control, and it happens instantly. That means when she greets you, her hello might not sound perfectly steady. Instead, it may come out a little breathy, with a faint quiver, or even a tiny crack in her tone. Think about that for a second. Her body is literally betraying her, the same way your voice might shake when you're charged up with emotion. Her voice can give away that surge of desire. And it's not something she plans, it's her nervous system doing the talking before her brain can catch up. Let me paint the picture. You walk up. She looks at you. And when she says hi, there's this delicate break in her voice. Maybe it sounds lighter, more airy, or maybe you catch a tiny tremble. She quickly recovers. But if you were paying attention, You just heard her subconscious reveal exactly how much she feels that pull. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Couldn't that just mean she's nervous? And yes, nervousness can play a role. But here's the distinction. Nervous energy usually creates a fast-paced, jittery kind of voice, almost rushed. Attraction, on the other hand, makes her tone more delicate, breathy, and slightly unsteady. It's not speed, it's softness, with a hint of vulnerability. Psychologists studying attraction have found that vocal changes are one of the earliest and most consistent indicators of arousal. In fact, studies show that both men and women unconsciously modulate their voices when speaking to someone they're drawn to. It's instinct, it's built into us. Here's a scenario to make this real. Imagine you're at a coffee shop. You say hello to the barista, and she replies with a steady, polite tone. Nothing special, just transactional. Now imagine you greet a woman you've just met, and her hi comes out softer. Maybe with that airy little breath at the start. She might even laugh slightly as she says it, like her voice is struggling to stay composed. That's not random. That's attraction bleeding through her vocal cords. So here's the key takeaway. Don't just watch her face or her body language. Listen. Her voice can reveal desire in a way she can't consciously control. And once you learn to pick up on those subtle shifts, the breathiness, the quiver, the softness, you'll start hearing attraction in places you never expected. Now let's talk about the fourth hidden signal. And this one is really interesting. Because it's not about what she says or even how she looks at you, it's about how she breaks the social script of a greeting. Think about it. Most greetings follow the same predictable pattern. Eye contact. A polite smile. A hi. Maybe a handshake. A hug if you're closer. It's almost like choreography. We all know the steps, but when attraction is strong, a woman's instincts often override that script. Instead of following the normal sequence, she disrupts it. Her subconscious urge to close the distance with you takes over. And suddenly the rules go out the window. Here's what that might look like. She leans in before she even says a word. She reaches out to touch your arm too quickly. She speaks and touches you at the same time, in a slightly rushed way. Or she combines steps smiling, moving toward you, and talking all at once like she can't slow herself down. To the untrained eye, this might look like awkwardness. But it's not awkwardness, it's instinct. Her body is literally trying to speed up the connection. As if to say, forget the formalities. I want to be closer to you now. Psychology backs this up. Studies on proxemics, the science of personal space, show that when we feel attraction, our comfort zone shrinks. We unconsciously reduce the distance between ourselves and the person we're drawn to. That's why she leans in early. Why she rushes the sequence. Her body isn't thinking about etiquette, it's thinking about closeness. Picture this. You're at a party. You greet a woman you've just met. Instead of waiting for you to step forward, she steps into your space right away. She might touch your shoulder before even finishing her hello. She may laugh mid-greeting and instinctively brush against you. To most men, it seems casual. To the man paying attention, it's a crystal clear signal of attraction. Here's the key distinction. A normal greeting feels smooth, measured, polite. An attraction-fueled greeting feels slightly offbeat, like she's skipping steps or mixing them together. It's not clumsy, but it does feel rushed, urgent, charged with energy. And here's the powerful part, she's not even aware she's doing it. Her conscious mind is just trying to say hello. But her subconscious is already pulling her closer, breaking the rules of the script to get more of you as fast as possible. So here's what I want you to remember if she greets you in a way that feels out of sequence, if she reaches first, leans in too early, or overlaps gestures that's not random. That's attraction taking the wheel. And once you learn to spot it, you'll never confuse instinctive desire with simple friendliness again. All right. Now we've reached the fifth and final signal. And this one is the most primal, the most instinctive, and honestly the hardest for her to hide. It's when she exposes her pulse points. Now, what do I mean by pulse points? These are the biologically sensitive areas of her body, her neck, her wrists, and her collarbone. Places where blood vessels run close to the surface. Places rich with scent glands. Places evolution has wired us to recognize as vulnerable and deeply intimate. When a woman feels drawn to you, she may unconsciously reveal these areas during a greeting. She might tilt her head just slightly to the side, exposing her neck. She may sweep her hair back or tuck it behind her ear. She might extend her wrist a little more openly during a handshake, or rest her fingers gently near her throat as she says hello. Here's the key: she's not doing this on purpose. She's not thinking, let me flash my pulse points to show attraction. No, this is her biology inviting you closer. It's a subconscious act of vulnerability, one that signals trust and openness on the deepest level. Psychologists studying attraction have long noted that these subtle displays are part of what's called preening behavior, unconscious signals designed to highlight femininity and invite intimacy. And exposure of the pulse points is one of the clearest, most powerful examples of this. Let me paint a picture. You walk into a date, and as she greets you, she casually sweeps her hair to one side, leaving her neck exposed. She smiles briefly, maybe touches her collarbone as she speaks. On the surface, it looks completely natural, but beneath the surface, her body is saying, I feel something, and I'm opening up to you. So now you are fonders. And here's why this is so important, unlike a laugh or a smile, which can be faked out of politeness. Exposing the pulse points is much harder to control consciously. It's primal. It's vulnerable. It's instinctive, which makes it one of the most reliable signs of attraction you'll ever see. Now, not every woman will do this. And not every tilt of the head means desire. Context always matters. But when you notice this behavior, especially combined with the other signals we've already talked about, it's one of the clearest green lights you'll ever get. So here's the bottom line: if she reveals those delicate areas, her neck, her wrists, her collarbone during that first greeting, you are not just another guy she's meeting. You're someone her body is responding to on a raw, instinctive level. And once you learn to spot this, you'll never confuse casual friendliness with primal attraction again. All right, let's take a step back and recap what we've just uncovered. We started with her breathing that quick inhale or delicate sigh that slips out before she even speaks. It's her body's instant, subconscious reaction to feeling that spark with you. Then we looked at the fleeting smile, that tiny flash of warmth across her face that vanishes too quickly, because her subconscious can't hide it fast enough. It's not the long, polite grin most guys look for. It's the one she doesn't even realize she gave you. Next, we talked about changes in her voice. When attraction takes over, her tone softens, gets breathy, or quivers just slightly. It's not nervous chatter. It's her vocal cords betraying the intensity of her emotions. From there, we dove into breaking the greeting script. Those little disruptions where she leans in too soon, touches you before finishing her hello, or rushes the sequence of gestures. It's not clumsiness, it's instinct trying to close the gap between you faster than social rules allow. And finally, we revealed the most primal one of all: the exposure of her pulse points. When she tilts her head, sweeps her hair back, shows her neck, or rests her fingers near her collarbone, She's unconsciously inviting you closer. That's raw biology speaking louder than words. Now, here's what all this means for you. The next time you greet a woman, don't just listen to her words. Pay attention to those subtle, instinctive cues in the very first moments. Because those moments are where attraction hides in plain sight. Most men miss them. But not you, not anymore. When you start noticing these signs, you'll no longer second guess whether she's interested. You'll walk into social situations with a quiet confidence, knowing that you can read signals other men are blind to. And that changes everything. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about awareness. It's about learning to see what's already there. And once you train yourself to catch these unconscious giveaways, you'll move through the world differently, more grounded, more certain, and way ahead of the average guy. So the next time you say hello to a woman, slow down, observe, and listen closely. You'll be amazed at how much her body reveals before she even speaks a single word. So now you know the 5 hidden ways women reveal attraction in those very first seconds of a greeting breathing. The fleeting smile, changes in her voice, breaking the script, and exposing her pulse points. And here's the thing, most men will go through their entire lives completely blind to these signals. They'll miss the sigh, the flash of a smile, the tremble in her voice. They'll mistake instinctive desire for awkwardness or friendliness. But not you, because now, you've got the knowledge. If this video opened your eyes, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button right now. It takes 2 seconds, but it helps this channel more than you know. And it tells me to keep making more content that gives you the edge in dating and attraction. And of course, subscribe because this is just the beginning. You don't want to miss the next video I've got coming. In it, I'll break down the body language signals that happen after the greeting, the subtle shifts in posture, touch, and eye movement that reveal just how fast attraction is escalating. Trust me, once you see it, you'll never look at interactions the same way again. So make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications, and join me in the next one. Because the guys who understand female psychology aren't just playing the game, they're rewriting the rules.